boys. So after countless discussions and we're going to do this, we're doing it.
We're here.
We're doing it. Adam was not on time.
Definitely late.
No comment.
And we won't talk about the phone call he's going to get in trouble for and flogged for it when he gets home. All right.
No.
Let's get to this.
That'll be next podcast.
So, yeah, this is 3-star recruits. There's probably going to be more than 3 of us at some point during this. There's others involved. So, yeah, this is the first one. Episode 1, Uno.
Yes, sir.
That's the only 2 languages I know number 1 in. So if anybody else has got anything.
Un.
German.
Okay.
Now we're up to 3.
Okay. So I kind of want to kick it off with, tomorrow's a big day, Super Bowl. So let's just get the elephant in the room out of the way. I think we're all in a consensus. But who do you got winning the game tomorrow?
I am definitely on the Chiefs bandwagon for tomorrow. I think a lot of people are. But Patrick Mahomes, definitely dynamic offensive player. I think we've yet to see a defense truly slow him down. I know both teams have good defenses in this. And I also think Andy Reid's going to have some tricks up his sleeve. So
I don't see San Francisco stopping Mahomes.
No, I got KC as well. San Fran's D is definitely good. I think the X factor for KC is the Honey Badger on defense.
Yes.
Yep.
I think he definitely slows San Fran down. So
Is
I'm
San Fran
on KC.
Have they played a mobile quarterback this year? I can't think of anybody they've actually played that's not that Mahomes is super mobile, but he's mobile enough where he gets out of trouble and he picks up 4 or 5 yards, he runs out of bounds.
Yeah.
It's mobile enough where it's disruptive to a defense.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if they've played a real mobile quarterback this year.
Yeah, I think Adam might be trying to pull it up, but I definitely don't pay enough attention to the 49ers through the regular season.
Yeah, it's West Coast, and
not sure about
we live in the East Coast. So I did this yesterday. I was home. I wasn't still fighting this sickness, sore neck thing. So I grabbed lunch, and you guys are going to love this. I turned Madden on.
Okay.
I put on 11-minute quarters, and I had the Chiefs playing the Niners. Now, the only reason I thought of this is I think every year when we watch Super Bowl, they always throw that prediction out there, what Madden predicted.
Yep. Yep. I like where this is going, though.
So I threw on 11-minute quarters. I ate my lunch, and I'll throw some stats at you. I'm going to drop some Madden knowledge on you. At halftime, the score was 13-7, Kansas City.
Okay.
Final score was 22-14, Kansas City.
I need more points than that.
We all do. And the only reason it was 22-14 is because Kansas City kicked a field goal with 4 seconds left in the fourth quarter instead of taking the knee because it was 4th down. Madden algorithm. Jimmy G was 30 for 43, 290 yards, 2 touchdowns. Mahomes, this one was shocking, 17 for 27, 253 yards, 1 touchdown. So not as many, wasn't as explosive as I thought it was going to be. Kind of the reason I put on 11-minute quarters instead of 15-minute quarters. So kind of figured it was Madden to be a little more realistic. Damian Williams, 19 carries, 108 yards, and Coleman had 11 carries for 46. So right now Madden's predicting that Kansas City wins this game. Not even close to the Vegas over-under, but that's what we got.
And that, correct me if I'm wrong, but that simulation has Jimmy G throwing a lot more than they have in the playoffs so far.
Yeah, 43 times. And probably Mahomes less than what he would be.
Yeah.
But if they are down, he will have to throw the ball.
Yeah.
And that's where they've struggled all but one game this year.
They don't explode. They can nickel and dime down the field, but I don't think they have the explosive offense with Tyreek, like Kansas City with Tyreek Hill. Yep. And I guess you could throw Sammy Watkins in that mix. You got an answer over there yet?
So, depending on what we're calling mobile quarterback, they did play Lamar.
That is as mobile as it gets.
Did lose to Lamar.
There you go.
Obviously, Russell Wilson twice.
Yep. Also mobile.
1-1, and then Kyler Murray.
Kind of mobile. His mobile is like, holy shit, I got to scramble out of trouble here.
So the 2 definites in Russell Wilson and Lamar,
they were
1 and 2.
1 and 2.
So.
1 and 2 against. That's a good fact. How about ESPN? You picked that up. Sweet. All right. Well, we got that out of the way. So this one I've been itching to talk about.
All
And
right.
I know Russ looked this up.
Uh-oh.
So I hope Adam did too. The North Korean Basketball League. Did anybody do their homework on this?
So I did a quick search on it. I won't say that I dove in real deep, but just a couple basic facts that I found.
Yeah, I read the article. So I think Barstool posted the article. I read the article on Barstool and just like what they had for the info.
So that's how you heard about it, through Barstool.
Yes.
Gotcha. It looks like it was founded 1997.
Oh, it's not new?
No.
So are these new rules?
New rules.
Is it?
New rules.
Okay.
So yeah, without knowing where this was going, I didn't know the new rules or anything like that. But yeah, founded 1997. So they've had 23 seasons under their belt. They have 10 teams in the league.
I didn't know that.
And of those 23 years, the leading scorer in the league 21 times has been an American player.
Is it Dennis Rodman?
I don't believe it's Dennis Rodman, no.
I
don't have the names in front
my
of me.
vision of the North Korea Basketball League is Kim Jong-un predicts, or he tells you who's going to win, and that's who wins. It's like the Globetrotters in Korea.
That's fair.
So this is what I wrote down for these must be the new rules that Adam was mentioning. A slam dunk is now worth 3 points instead of 2.
Yep.
That's interesting.
Field goal in the final 3 minutes is worth 8 points.
Final 3 seconds, I think.
Is it 3 seconds or 3 minutes?
I thought I read 3 seconds.
That's even crazier.
And you said 8.
8 points.
8 points.
8 points.
8 points.
Okay.
3-pointers are worth 4 if the ball doesn't touch the rim.
Which I think causes a lot of concern.
Yeah.
Fighting.
Yeah. I wonder how many referees have been executed over making a wrong call.
I don't know what goes on over in North Korea too much, but
We know enough.
I have a feeling if we're arguing over a ball hitting a rim, we may have some bigger issues.
Someone's getting shot in the street.
And we do want to make sure you heard that right. If it doesn't hit the rim, a 3-pointer is worth 4.
4 points. And you get a point deducted for missing a free throw.
Yes.
I kind of like that, actually.
Yeah, Lonzo Ball would be in trouble. No
Yes.
wonder he
Yeah.
didn't go overseas.
Hack-a-Shack that'd be a whole new tactic there.
Dude, Shaq would, I don't know. How would, I don't know. Do you make, I'm not touching that. You can't even punish that. But
No.
anyway, yeah, I just thought that was kind of interesting. I read the rules, and I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. Then I'm like, then again, it's North Korea.
I mean,
Kind of doesn't shock me.
that is why they call it free throws, right? They are free.
Yeah, if you make them.
So
It sounds like they might cost you. They're no longer free.
They cost you a point and possibly your life if Kim Jong bet the over. Oh,
Unless you had that 8-pointer in the last 3 seconds.
and Kim Jong Un's father is the catalyst behind this.
he
The new
started it?
rules. The new rules.
Okay.
So
Okay.
So he
Makes
probably
sense.
did lose too much money gambling.
Yeah.
on this.
Kim Jong Il.
It's just Kim Jong at this point. I'm not getting into politics on this podcast. That's rule 1 of this podcast. We were not going to talk about politics and or work, so you guys are welcome. All right, we got to move on from that because I don't know.
We should mention we have a TV behind the camera with
We were
Yeah.
watching
the National Cornhole League.
in Miami.
So if it looks as though we're blankly staring past the camera, we're just watching the TV, actually.
These guys are ridiculous.
Yes. They would, we would clearly stand no chance against
I think half of them can't read. But
They can't
like I said to Russ earlier, most of these guys look like
This one kid looks like he's from Harry Potter.
he does. But I told Russ earlier, I'm like, I think most of these guys, like cornhole in the north, is still fairly new and fresh. We still have people who've yet to play it up here that are playing with us in our league, but some of these guys are mostly from like Virginia in the south. I think their grandpappies made moonshine illegally, and they've been playing cornhole since.
We do know they can at least count to 21, though.
Someone's doing it for them. They have actually viPads on the side
I
now.
don't know if they're counting.
Yeah, cancel that.
So, all right, moving on. This Premier Golf League, we're all golfers. We follow golf pretty regular or in the loop on pretty much everything in regards to golf. So I do. I want your opinions on this when it comes to this Premier Golf League.
Yeah, I looked that up, did some research over the last couple days on that. It's been in the news a little bit. Sounds like the PGA Tour Commissioner Jay Monahan actually put out a notice to the PGA Tour members on Monday. So I think that's what sparked a little bit of
the us or them memo.
Yeah, exactly. I think a lot of that falls back on the fact that a PGA Tour player has to play in 15 PGA sanctioned events during a season. And it sounds like the Premier Golf League is basically setting up their schedule to conflict with that. So it's not necessarily that the commissioner is saying you can't play in them, but if you play in them, you're probably not going to meet your PGA requirements.
Yeah, but they will not coincide with any majors.
Yep. Which, to me, is even a bigger waste because if you're spending your time playing over there, you're not spending time playing in this this league. Therefore, you're not getting points and somehow qualifying to play in the majors, the 4 majors over here, or 3 over here and 1 in Europe. So, it's an 18 event schedule, 48 player fields, and $10 minimum.
And
million for the purse.
Yep.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I thought it said you had to play in all 18.
I didn't read that, but wouldn't shock me. So, from what I did read, this is Saudi based.
Mm-hmm.
So, to me, I don't want to sound like a terrible person, but I feel like some of this, that's a different culture over there. I'll put it that way. So when I hear Saudi-based money going into this, they have a lot of oil money. So if they say, hey, I want to start my own basketball league too, they have enough money to do that. And what they're looking to do is there's probably people over there with a lot of money who want to see Tiger Woods and Phil Mickelson and the rest of them. I mean, the tour has events in Dubai and the Middle East and other countries surrounding. So, they're willing to pay money for them to show up.
Right.
Because you cannot take a appearance fee here in the U.S. You can in Europe and other countries.
Yep.
So if you want to go play in Europe, hence why Dustin Johnson's probably playing over there this week. But
and Brooks Koepka.
So I think it's a little bit of a power move. Like, I'm going to throw my money around. If it was more U.S. based, where somebody was like, hey, I'm going to start my own league over here, I'm going to put all this money into it, I'd be even more. I don't want to say I'm against it, but I would be against it because there's enough minor league golf leagues with developing tours with players who could potentially play in the PGA Tour. If you were to give one of those guys on the web.com and say, hey, give it a shot, you got a year or two to go out. You don't have to worry about anything. You play in any event you want to. You don't have to worry about your next meal. You're paying your rent, paying your bills. I would guarantee that guy would win at least one tournament in those 2 years. Yeah, because those guys are that good. Yep. It's a timing thing.
And Kyle, as you mentioned money, I read that it was $1 billion investment. That's billion with a B.
That's crazy. Yeah. Oil money.
Yeah. I think clearly money is the top attraction for this, trying to allure players over there. But
and it's even been a bigger topic since the backers of this did play with Phil in the Pro-Am over in Dubai this week.
And Phil didn't have a lot to say. Just he was intrigued and
which I think it's interesting they chose Phil Mickelson, because in my opinion, this is not going to truly compete with the PGA Tour.
No,
I think it has the potential to compete with guys that are debating about going to the Champions Tour. Maybe a less prestigious tour that doesn't have, the Masters and things like that.
Yes.
And if they're not on the PGA Tour and the choice is Champions Tour or potentially the $10 million payouts on this Premier Golf League, I could see that being a little bit more of a conflict.
Well, and you got to look at final, because obviously the current talks are top 48 in the world. So I don't know how that plays into it.
They want the top 48
in the
world rankings?
That would be the only people that could play.
That's not going to happen.
That will never happen.
Right,
then.
and so in that case, you've got to get buy-in from all those top guys, or
it's not
going to take off.
Yeah, I hadn't read that,
so,
but that to me is an immediate
it's a no-go.
Yeah.
It'll fail immediately. It's like the XFL.
Well, I don't know if, and it didn't say, and obviously it's very early stages of this, but is it just the top 48 guys that are willing to play? So say the top 10 in the world don't play, then you take the next 10 in the rankings after that. But yeah,
for the size of the purses, I could see a guy who is mid-level, it's not the web.com tour anymore, but, he decides, all right, I'm going to go over there and play in a couple of those events. And make some money.
Yep.
Right.
And, hey, I'm playing for a little more money and maybe I get a little more experience. And then I'm going to go back to Q school and play in the U.S.
And I think it'd be interesting how much they do. If there are only 48 guys in a tournament, of that 10 million, how many spots are they paying? Is everyone getting paid?
Right.
And obviously, there'll be more to come out on that probably in the next 6 months, 12 months.
Guys like Rory, Spieth, Justin Thomas, some of that younger, the higher level guys, even with $10 million purses for a 48 field event, and you're basically burning that bridge of the PGA Tour. They're not going to go play in it.
No, absolutely not.
Because they could finish, 156 in the FedEx Cup for the year, and they would still make more money from sponsorships and everything else here in the U.S. in this market than they would in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
You're going to advertise gas stations in Saudi Arabia. Hey, we got gas. We got oil.
Obviously, there's a better chance to win money if there's only 48 guys versus 140. But at the same time, I'm guessing the payout to win is not much more than winning a PGA Tour event.
Right. And Spieth missed the cut this week. Do you think he's eating ramen for the next week? No.
Maybe Vienna sausages.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think if you take a guy like
first dad joke.
Didn't come from Adam either.
Yeah.
Look at somebody like Brooks Koepka, who's currently number 1 in the world, and certainly the money would be an attraction, but he's already got, I believe, 4 major titles, correct? If you give him the choice right now between, hey, you can go over here, win a tournament, and let's say it is $10 million. You can make $10 million. Or you could stay here and maybe win a green jacket and another U.S. Open and get paid $3 million for those 2 tournaments.
Right.
He's going to take the $3 million and the 2 major wins over a $10 million payout.
Or even the travel.
Time.
You don't have to travel. You're going to win 2 events this year, plus your sponsorships.
Yeah.
You're staying here.
And they are world tournaments, so you're going to be traveling constantly.
Right.
Yeah.
I want to see them try to have one here and see how fast they get shut down.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to get sponsors. Sponsors are not going to cut their throat with the PGA Tour if they already sponsored an event.
Yeah.
And I believe it was only a 54-hole tournament, so it's only 3 rounds.
That makes it worse if you're going to travel.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And I did read that Norman tried to start something 25 years ago, very similar to this, and he tried to join it with the PGA Tour, and the PGA Tour shot it down right away. So nothing took off with it.
Was it like do you know if he pitched it to them as like a developmental tour?
I don't know what he pitched it to, but 25 years, it was when he was number 1 in the world. Yeah. He did pitch it to him.
Yeah, I haven't. It'll be interesting to go back and read Jay Monahan, read his message to the players. I haven't done that yet, but from the notes I saw in a few articles, it sounded like it was a very stern message of, hey, you're choosing between us and them.
It was the us or them memo.
Yeah.
And I didn't see the memo. I don't know if it's posted, but it was pretty much.
And if we're throwing out, the number 48, the top 48 in the world, they will never risk upsetting the PGA Tour.
Nope.
And
not where they're
now
they're getting their bread buttered.
No, they'll never close that door on themselves.
Yeah, right. I did read 2022 is the expected start of this. So,
yeah, I think I'm going to go ahead and make a prediction and say this doesn't happen at all. That's how I'm going to go. They're not going to get enough support, and if it does get off the ground, it doesn't make it a season.
Right.
Full agreement.
Yeah.
I don't see those top guys paying into this.
Yeah.
No.
I definitely agree with that, and I guess just to go down a slightly different road, I could see it going ahead and starting up for maybe a year or 2. They would attract some of the guys that are on what I believe it's now the Korn Ferry Tour.
Yeah, the Korn Ferry, that's what it is.
Some of those players, and then like I mentioned, guys like say Phil Mickelson, who I believe in that year would be about 52 years old. They may attract some of those Champions Tour guys, and then probably after a year or 2, it would fizzle
Phil won
out.
$10 million off Tiger, man. I think he's good.
Yeah.
He still has it all, except for the $100 he gave to Jake Owen at Spieth's wedding. So he still got it.
And I thought it was interesting that they were trying to get Mickelson. If they are going to take top 48 in the world, why would you go to Mickelson?
Yeah,
obviously he's nearing the end.
I really think it's because of his age, and they probably figure in 2 or 3 years from now he's not going to be able to compete on the PGA Tour.
Well, and unless they think that they can get him to buy in and bring some of his money.
They probably give him appearance fee money.
And kind of get some investment from him and hopefully bring some of the PGA Tour guys over.
But let's take Phil for an example in this. Let's say I'm going to go 10 years. I think Phil's got enough game in him right now. He's still young. He's leaner. He's lost some weight. It's probably making him healthier.
Those calves are nice.
Oh, he hits bombs. He also told us about it in his newest Callaway commercial. I would say let's say 10 years, Phil, that's pretty clear. He can't compete anymore over here. He's just not cutting it. He's not making money, even though he has enough money. And Phil could quit playing right now and be just fine with his life.
Yes.
Let's say he does go over there. But is Phil already in the Hall of Fame? He might already be in the Hall of Fame.
I think he already is.
So Phil's not a good example. Let's take
Look that up.
So let's take anybody that's not necessarily, doesn't have to be Phil's, status. But let's say somebody has a very good career. They're going to go in the Hall of Fame.
How about Snedeker?
Snedeker? Yeah, sure. We'll take Snedeker.
He just wanted to say Snedeker.
He did. But let's take any of these guys. They're going to be Hall of Famers. And then at the end of their career, when they can't compete, and this, for some crazy reason, this league's still going on, they go over there and play. Do you think that weighs on the people in the U.S. while they're voting them into the Hall of Fame? You went in like to a league that basically is trying to compete with us, and we don't agree with.
My gut instinct says no. I think you could write that off as just, hey, he can't compete anymore, but he's still got the passion.
He's trying to make money.
Wants to continue playing.
Okay. Yeah.
I wouldn't hold that against him. I think we've seen in other sports, I'm a big hockey guy, a lot of hockey players that have had Hall of Fame careers.
Yes.
Last year or so, they can't quite cut it, and they prime example of this, David Backes, currently with the Boston Bruins, probably a borderline Hall of Fame player. Can't cut it this season, just got sent down to the AHL. If he finishes his contract going up and down between Boston and the AHL, I don't hold that against him in Hall of Fame type conversation.
There was a guy, I can't remember who it was. He played against the team here. I think he played for the Chicago team before they were the AHL team. But he played it. I can't remember his name.
Yeah, I'm not.
Tricky Ricky would know this answer like that.
Not sure who you're mentioning, but I do know Craig Rivet spent a long career in the NHL, mainly with Montreal, and then finished with Buffalo. He's actually Buffalo's captain, and then his contract ended in Buffalo, and he actually signed to play with the Elmira Jackals. He actually played on their team for a season. I believe they were still in the East Coast Hockey League at that time.
Okay, that might have been it.
But yeah, crazy jump from captain of the Buffalo Sabres to the Elmira Jackals, and that's exactly what he said when he signed it. People questioned him, and he said he couldn't cut it in the NHL, but still had the desire to play.
Yeah, if you're healthy, why not? I mean, I'd probably still do it too.
Yeah, he's not a Hall of Famer, but I don't hold that against him at all for wanting to do that.
Yeah, for sure.
Mickelson did go in the Hall of Fame in 2012.
There it is. I thought he was a Hall of Famer, and they lowered the age for that, so Tiger's going to be in the Hall of Fame next year.
Yeah,
he was. Phil was 41 when he was inducted.
Okay. It's interesting with golf being the only sport where there's just an age requirement. You don't have to be.
Yeah,
you don't have to be retired.
And you could still be playing. Yeah.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
Which certainly no problem.
There's a longevity factor though with golf.
Yeah, absolutely,
for sure. So, all right. I'm not a fan of this guy. I'm a Bills fan. Adam's a Bills fan. Russ is currently a newly Bills fan.
Bills Mafia, baby.
Ever since the Giants decided to trade everybody.
Yep, that's true.
Beckham Jr.
Literally the whole roster.
I feel like we should just talk about it just because I don't like the guy, but a lot of it's curiosity. Where's Brady going next year? If he goes anywhere at all.
Yeah, it feels like every day
there's a new one.
We're seeing a new potential destination.
Yep.
And before we maybe even get into destinations, I don't think he would be allowing all this conversation, all this, hey, is he going here? Is he going here? If he was going back to New England. I think if his heart was, I'm going back to New England, he would have already put an end to it and said, hey, we haven't worked out a deal yet, but my heart's in New England.
Right.
So I think the longer this speculation goes on about different teams and different cities and he's bought a house here and whatnot, I think the greater the chance that he's actually going to leave New England.
Yeah. I know he bought a house in Connecticut, which I clicked on the Zillow link. No one needs a house that big. Yeah. Nobody.
No. So I think we've heard, at least me personally, we've heard him linked to the Raiders potentially.
Yep.
The Chargers because they let Phil Rivers walk.
Yeah, they parted ways with him.
Yep.
And he moved to Florida.
Yep. They Brady and his wife enrolled their kids in school in Nashville.
Is that confirmed?
I saw a few articles on it, so I don't know.
Yep, I heard that one too.
Let's in theory say yes.
Okay, they're yeah.
And then I didn't read it, but I saw another headline linking him to the Dolphins also.
So I have those 4 teams written down, and I
All
actually
right.
saw a new one today.
Okay.
The Bengals.
That's probably a
It could be a smart play on their
Yeah.
part. If they can
If-
bring him in, then they can take Chase Young, number 1 overall, instead of going to Burrow.
yeah.
And I think Chase Young probably has a longer longevity
Then Burrow.
than
Yeah.
Burrow.
I would say that's a valid point. It also, just to argue the other side of it, if they want to take Burrow, you don't feel like you have to force him into the lineup.
He
First
sits
game as a
behind
rookie.
Brady for a year and
You could-
mentors.
Exactly. Sit and learn from Brady for a year.
Yeah, there's been a lot of good quarterbacks did it. I mean, Rodgers did it. Steve Young did it. That's a good point.
So I might be in the minority in this. I think he ends up back in New England.
My gut tells me yes, just because of his history.
I think he signs like a 1-year deal and just plays 1 more year.
I think if he goes anyplace else, he's going to sign a deal that's worth crazy money. Now, Brady, I know for a fact that Brady had structured his contract in New England, that he actually got more money in his later years. Like guaranteed. He spread it out. Knowing probably that there's a chance that, hey, when I'm at the time when he signed it, like when I'm 40, I might not be playing.
But he has taken pay cuts.
Yep.
To help that roster.
Yes. Was that part of the spreading of the each year's
I
cap
believe so,
space?
yes.
Okay. So I know he has done that. I think he goes back to New England. But then I'm in the middle because I think Belichick's done with him.
I don't think Belichick wants to pay him 20-some million a year because I think he will still get that.
He doesn't want to pay him
amount.
$20 because he knows that they got to start moving forward. It's been 20 years.
Yeah.
Right? He wanted Garoppolo.
Yeah.
And now Garoppolo's playing the Super Bowl.
And I won't name
tomorrow.
names because I can't stand the guy. He works for ESPN, but he made a valid point the other day. He said, Brady has been all about the Patriots way. Call it what you want. The Patriots way and their culture in the last 20 years. The only time he wasn't about the Patriots way was with Jimmy Garoppolo. And he basically had him shipped out of town because that was his replacement.
Yeah.
It didn't benefit him. It didn't help him. And he was like, I want him out of here.
I think at that time there were rumors that Belichick wanted to ship Garoppolo out of town and then potentially retire a year or two later and almost prove that Brady couldn't do it without Belichick.
I could see that. I think Belichick's got an ego.
Yeah.
For sure got it. I mean, you ever seen a guy do a press conference?
Yeah.
If I worked for the media, I'd probably go up on stage and just slap him.
Yeah.
I mean, he is the head of that snake.
He is.
We've already talked more in the short time of this podcast than Belichick has, and I think his last 100 media appearances.
We're just focused on the next game. That's all we're worried about is playing football.
Hey, well, right now he's focused on next year.
Yeah. So I could see Brady going someplace else just because there's been rumors that relationship is not the greatest with Belichick.
Yeah.
There was the beginning of the year, this year, there was the rumor about Brady's trainer getting kicked out and his access getting removed from being in the stadium and being around
Yep.
Brady.
Yep.
So I could see him going someplace else. If you're Tom Brady, though, you've played probably a lot longer than one you anticipated
Yes.
and what most quarterbacks play anyway.
Yes.
Is it worth – do you need another $10 million for 1 year?
Not when your wife has a higher income than you do. She has a higher net value than he does.
She does.
I think if you love the game though,
Yeah. To me, this kind of goes.
it's more of the love of
Yeah.
it.
I
But
agree.
he's going to go someplace else where he doesn't have an offensive line, and I hope he gets smothered because he will.
Yeah. If he comes back wherever he goes, I think it is more about a.
When
we were
Robert
just saying
Kraft
with
when Robert Kraft isn't cutting the check to the officials and he's in like Cincy, you
know,
think that ref cares that he just got steamrolled?
you imagine the if he went somewhere else, imagine the hype built up around like a potential Brady Belichick like playoff matchup if that were to happen.
I want him on Rough and Rowdy.
Oh, that'd be outstanding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know Belichick would wear that like cut off sweatshirt, and Brady would wear Ugg boots.
So
And I think Brady's he's become a big troll in social media
Yeah.
past 6 months. So I think that Instagram picture that he took of him walking, it looks like he's walking out of a stadium.
Is he walking? It looked like he was
This-
walking in because
so-
it looked like the wall.
So
This
to
is
me,
giving-
because I thought it looks like he's walking out because the way his left leg or right leg, depending, I guess, the way it's bent, it
Yep.
makes it look like he's walking
It's
out of the
his-
stadium.
it's his right leg, and for that exact reason, ironically, I thought he was walking into a stadium.
Yeah,
This
so
is like
I
that
saw-
swing video that was went viral
Yeah.
3 weeks ago.
This is like the shoe that was a
The dress
blue or
is a
gold
blue
or
or gold.
whatever. This can be like that with Brady. So, all right, just for the sake of conversation, let's say he does leave. Who do you see quarterbacking the New England Patriots next year? Or does that potentially depend on where Brady ends up?
So I heard a scenario, and I'm not going to remember it 100%, but I believe it had something to do with Rivers playing Miami, Brady in Vegas, Derek Carr in Tampa Bay, and Jameis Winston in New England. I believe it went something like that. There'd be just like a big ring around the rosies of quarterbacks just shuffling.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Andy Dalton's in there somewhere too.
Yeah. I mean, you got to figure Andy Dalton's future obviously depends on the draft with them having the number 1 overall.
And I
pick,
did
but-
see Dalton's name connected to New England today. There's a rumor. Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
So I did just go back and look at this Instagram photo, and it does. Now that I look at it, it does look like he's walking in the stadium. Because I thought the way his leg is bent, I think it's the bottom of his shoe, and I thought it was the other way around. So I think it
Okay.
is him walking back into a stadium. And I did try to do some research, like New England Tunnel, to see if it matched up. But
That'd be
I couldn't find anything.
I'm sure
They have
you
a
and
huge
10
tunnel,
million
yeah.
people.
They have a
tried
huge
that.
tunnel at the end of the field, and then I think actually their locker room is right behind the bench. They take stairs.
Yes.
Yeah,
That
when
was-
they leave.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's there's got to be somebody out there that could tell us what stadium that is.
Yeah, I'm trying to
Somebody
look at
online.
sponsorship signs.
I know. I was trying to. That's probably why
Yeah.
he put it in black and white
Yeah,
and
yeah.
did all that
He,
jazz.
he knew what he was doing.
He's got a
Yeah.
social media guy that took care of everything for that.
I almost view him on social media like Phil Mickelson.
I don't follow Tom Brady.
I don't either, but it's hard not to see his stuff.
The only place
retweeted.
I would follow Brady is into a dark alley to beat his ass. That's it.
You know,
It'd be a good matchup.
Oh, he doesn't have a chance. Not a chance.
Hmm.
So, all right, that's. I was just kind of curious what you guys thought of that. Not that I care where the guy goes, but
Yep.
I think that I don't know. And if you're Brady, do you? I mean, like I said, you need no $10 million. Like if you're not going to go somewhere and, I mean, compete right out of the gate, why go at 42?
Let me just throw this out there. You've already mentioned this team, Kyle. How about Tampa? They have 2 very good receivers.
Very good receivers. They just have a guy that throws a lot of interceptions.
yeah.
Right. And Arians is supposedly a great offensive guy.
Yep.
It's very true. I mean, Winston threw up some crazy numbers this year, but he also threw up a lot of interceptions. And you take away half of those, and Winston is an MVP this year, probably.
Hey, he's the first ever 30-30.
30-30 guy, yeah. My thing with Brady is, and I'll continue to just pound on this. People in the NFL who scout, make their teams, draft, they're pretty smart people. They do their research. That's their job. They do their homework. There's a reason that guy was drafted in the 5th round. I still believe Brady's a system quarterback. The best year he ever had in New England was with Randy Moss. And that was the only time Brady has ever been a deep threat in his career. You go back and look at what he averages, like yards per throw, it's extremely small.
Yeah.
He's a system quarterback. They developed a system for him.
Yeah. It's probably, I mean, it's no coincidence exactly what you're saying that probably the biggest receivers, I don't have this number, but, pass attempts have got to be between Edelman, Wes Welker, and somebody like Amendola, these slot receivers that.
Or a running back. That's why so many running backs have come to New England. They throw it to him out of the backfield. Yeah, I just, the best, he's never been, if you threw it deep, he used to throw it to Gronk. You don't have to be accurate there. That guy's huge. Just throw it anywhere near him. He's going to go get it.
Yeah.
But I didn't look it up the stats, but I'd be curious what his stats were without McDaniels.
Me
For
too.
those
I was really
2 or
hoping
3
McDaniels
years.
left 2 years ago.
And I think if McDaniels actually would have gotten the Cleveland job, I think Brady would have been in Cleveland.
Do you think he still gets a head coaching job somewhere? Or it would have happened by now?
I think it's hard for him to get it now that he kind of played in Indianapolis.
That was, yeah.
And obviously we don't know what, all of a sudden this year, everybody thought he was a leading candidate for Cleveland.
I thought it was a shoe-in.
And then all of a sudden he's all of a sudden Dabble and Stefanski were the top two.
Yeah, I thought he was a shoe-in this year in Cleveland. I thought, like, if his name's in the mix and he's getting interviewed, why would you take the guy after what he's done in New England? But I don't know. I guess not, but there's got to be something there. And maybe what he did with Indianapolis, Cleveland didn't want to risk it with him. I don't know. It could be. Anyway, we move on from there. I mean, I guess we can stay on topic of quarterbacks. I know what Adam's going to say about this. Dak Prescott said he's getting paid. Says there's a contract coming anytime. Do you think Dak Prescott is worth the money?
No. I've had this debate with a couple people multiple times.
I know you're talking about someone at work who's a huge Cowboys fan. I know you're talking about.
He told me that Dak was a top 5 quarterback in the league. And maybe he is because he throws the ball 55 times a game.
And he used to not throw that much.
Correct. And I don't know why he throws it that much with a guy like Zeke sitting behind him.
Say not when you do have a top 5 running back behind you.
To me, he's probably top 15. He might squeeze in top 10. But I don't see him as a $40 million a year guy, which I think is what he's thinking.
I think that's what I think that's what he wants.
I'm laughing because I hadn't heard that number yet. Oh, hell no, he's not worth that money.
I think he was like $40 million, I think, or I even heard $25 million.
I was assuming half of 40. Yeah,
and not in 1 year.
That's just ridiculous.
I think I'd give him 20 because
over 4 years.
No, I mean, obviously the going rate for quarterbacks now. And one of my buddies did say, and I think you heard this off a radio station the other day, that most teams that make it to the Super Bowl now either have a Hall of Fame quarterback or a quarterback on a rookie deal.
You were talking about this, yeah.
And teams that have won it. The last time that it wasn't probably a Hall of Famer or a guy on a rookie deal was Trent Dilfer. Now, obviously, if Garoppolo wins it this year, that changes the whole scenario because
he's not a Hall of Famer, though.
But he is not on a rookie deal anymore, so that changes that.
Right.
But Mahomes is still on his rookie deal.
He is on a rookie deal.
So
that dude's going to get paid.
Yeah.
There's talk of him $40 million,
so,
too.
I'd pay him $40 million.
That's what I was going to say. If you pay Dak 25 or 30, what do you pay Mahomes? That's
yeah.
But then again, what if Dallas all of a sudden gives Dak 35 or 40? What's KC thinking? What do you do? Because you can't give him
Mahomes 60.
Right. If Dak's worth 35 or 40 to Dallas,
right,
he's going to be like, well, why aren't I worth 50?
Yeah.
I wish Jamie were here to discuss this with us. I told him he could come tonight, but I think he had stuff going on. Obviously, he's going to be a dad.
Yep.
Any day. I mean, he could be on his way to the hospital right now.
He might be right now.
Yeah. I think that. What do you? I want to hear what you think
about Dak's contract.
Yeah.
I think Dak is solid, not spectacular. Like I said, I hadn't heard the $40 million number. That number is just that's a joke.
Yeah.
It's a joke. I mean, I think he fits the Cowboys. I think it takes a special kind of player to be able to play quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys under Jerry Jones. But yeah, I wouldn't. To me, the 20 to 25 is the right number for
over a couple years, not even a year.
I guess, to be honest, I haven't researched what all the quarterbacks in the league make at the moment, but I don't know.
I don't think I'd give him more than 4.
4 years?
Right.
20 per for 4?
I think I would do that.
Right.
Okay. Right. I think that Dak...
And I agree with that, by the way.
Yeah, I think Dak... I do, too. I think Dak showed some extreme promise going into Dallas. Like, after Romo, they didn't know what they were going to do.
I think the issue with Dallas, though, is obviously Zeke just got his contract. If they want to sign Cooper, obviously he's a free agent.
He's going to want to get paid.
He's going to get
that's why Dak said
15 or more.
He was guaranteeing he didn't have to deal with this crap. Right. I'm going to get paid now.
And especially on defense, they've got to worry about Jalen Smith coming up soon.
Yep.
He is a top 10 linebacker.
And they probably should make additions to that defense.
Yes, they need.
They're going to compete.
They're going to need some help.
I just when Dak that first year, I was like, holy cow, Dallas might have just found their best superstar. I don't want to say I believed the hype, but I thought this guy's pretty good. I didn't think he was as bad as everyone thought. I thought He
Right.
took care of the ball, which is huge in the NFL. If you're not turning the ball over, I mean, a great example there right now as a Bills fan, Josh Allen. Josh Allen is a good quarterback. He's not great. He's still extremely young.
Yeah. Yes.
But he took care of the ball the last half of that season or more, and that's what got him that far. So Dak took care of the ball, which was huge. But I think the issue with Dak now is when it comes time, a defense is giving up points. So I don't think all the fault should fall on him. But in the NFL, it falls on the head coach. It falls on the quarterback. It usually does.
Yeah.
So when it comes time to win the game and that ball's in your hand, he's not doing it. He's not driving down the field. He's not putting the points on the board in the 2-minute drills. He's not doing that.
Are you saying it's not good to lateral the ball in the middle of the field?
That's correct, Josh. Please don't do that again.
While you're on your head.
Yeah.
Top of your head. Dak, just for the record, he's currently 26 years old. He'll be 27 before the next season starts when we, talk about years and whatnot.
That's got to factor in, too.
Yeah.
I mean, he's still fairly young. He's
still young.
I don't think the guy's taking a lot of damage, so.
Yeah, but there aren't many quarterbacks that last in the league, and if you do, you are playing until your late 30s into your 40s.
Which,
But
by the
that's
way,
very few and far between.
yeah. Which, by the way, I'll just throw it out there. Not that I don't know if he's coming back or how good he's going to be, but Alex Smith was on TV today. He's feeling better, and apparently he wants to come back soon. So good for him.
I say few and far between, but there are probably 3 or 4 of them right now with
Yep.
Rodgers, Brady, Brees.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think Brees retires? Let's talk about that.
Is he a free agent right now? What's he got?
I think as of March 18th, I think is
Yes.
the day.
I don't think he
But-
retires this offseason. No.
So I read a thing yesterday.
I think
that-
he does.
Who's the guy that comes in for them and is like a utility?
Yeah.
Taysom Hill.
Yeah, Taysom. So apparently they
asked him, Taysom Hill, right, if he was the future quarterback.
are you the future quarterback? And the rumor I heard was New Orleans views him as a franchise quarterback.
And he pretty much said the opposite, didn't he? Taysom?
I don't remember.
I think when he was asked that, he said, like, I've thrown 5 attempts. I don't know if it was in his career or the season or what. He said, no, I'm not a future quarterback or something like
that
that.
guy's a bigger threat doing what he's doing right now.
Yeah.
And I think Bridgewater can step in.
Exactly.
Yes.
He proved he 5-0 this year. When Brees was out.
Yeah. I personally would go with Bridgewater. Keep Taysom Hill as like you say, a couple snaps here.
I think Brees is he's a family man, and I think he'll hang it up.
I think he hangs it up for this.
The only thing though is if he hangs it up and Brady does not, Brady more than likely takes over
It's a really
touchdown
good point.
record.
It's a really good point.
Is that important to him, or I don't know. I don't think it is.
I think it would get broke eventually anyway.
Brees has got a Super Bowl. I mean, obviously that's the goal for everybody that plays in the NFL. But
Yep,
He
he's
could
going to be in the Hall of Fame.
Brees could also come back and play one more season, and Brady plays 2, and then that factors out the window anyways.
Yeah.
I don't think – I mean, it's a good point, but I don't think ultimately that would be the decision. It would be, can I stay healthy? Do we have a shot at the Super Bowl?
Right. My prediction right now is Brees hangs it up, and he's had a great career. And the reason I think Brees hangs it up is, like you just said, Bridgewater can come in, and he proved that he could be a very, very valuable quarterback to any franchise. Mm-hmm. And I think Brees hangs it up because if he wasn't going to hang it up, or there wasn't serious talk of him hanging it up and when to announce it, Bridgewater would be signed someplace else. Bridgewater would have been gone by now.
Yeah.
I mean, he is making, I believe, around $9 million a year.
Yeah. Bridgewater, I believe, was tied.
Yeah.
I think he was tied in New England.
Yeah, Bridgewater is the highest paid backup.
So many rumors I can't keep up. This is like an 8th grade study hall. So, well, I think that's all I have, boys, unless you have something else you want to discuss, vent about. I think this has been a very good first episode.
Yeah. Not a long discussion, but as long as since this happened last night, we're recording this on February 1st. Alex Ovechkin, again, I'm a hockey guy. He scored 2 goals last night, puts him at 695 all-time, and puts him in sole possession of 8th on the all-time goal-scoring list in the NHL. And that number puts him exactly – he needs 200 goals exactly to pass Wayne Gretzky for the all-time.
You think he's got it in him?
Lead. I do. I think.
I don't follow hockey a ton, but I felt like Ovechkin's always stayed pretty healthy.
Yeah, he's been averaging. I don't have the exact numbers. He's been averaging 40 to 50 goals over the almost his whole career, actually. And if he can stay healthy for another 5 or 6 years, even scoring 35 to 40, he would pass that.
And I think the past couple years, people have talked out, oh, maybe Ovechkin, maybe he's slowing down, and then he pops off 40 or 50
And won the
goals
cup,
again.
2 years ago? Last year?
Yeah.
2 years ago.
And partied for 6 months straight after.
did.
Yeah, that was outrageous.
You blame him, though?
But I believe he's had 10 goals in the last 5 games.
Something like that. They had back-to-back hat tricks last week and a 2-goal game before that, I believe.
Yeah. I think he's 10 goals in 5 games, which is unbelievable.
That'll work.
And he's still going. And I've heard he has Dr. Pepper in his water bottle. I'm a big DDP fan.
Yeah, we
but,
know.
Yeah, we know. There's probably 12 bottles under the table here. You mentioned that party. I believe it was Steve Yzerman. They asked the other day if they thought Ovechkin could break the record and what his opinion of it was. And all he said was, well, I don't know if he's going to break it, but the way he celebrated the cup, if he breaks the record, I want to be invited to the party. That was all he had to say about it.
Me too. Get your wife approval.
He might open that party up to the entire world.
Yeah, he might, including Russia. So,
They're invited to that party?
That's
I mean, he is Russian.
he's from Russia, so
I hope he invites him.
Yeah, not much of a debate there, but yeah, just shout out Ovechkin for.
I think
all-time
that's
eighth.
remember that topic. I think that's a good one.
Yeah.
Another episode.
Yep.
I'll throw a topic out there right now, and you guys, we can talk about next time.
Okay.
Is Ovechkin as good as Gretzky?
Okay.
Next time, Adam.
Well,
next time.
He shook his head.
He did.
I saw what direction.
Yeah.
We'll
So
discuss it.
we'll discuss it.
On that topic, I'll throw out another player's name for discussion there because I think that conversation is closer with him and Mario Lemieux.
And I'll take
Well,
notes of this so I have done my homework before
Yep.
next time.
All right.
All right, boys. Thanks for coming.
Yeah.
I'm pumped about it. I really am.
Yeah,
I think this is awesome. I wanted to get outside of my shell this year. I've talked about doing this for probably 2 years.
Yep.
I know it's way outside your shell.
Yep.
And it's outside yours, so I'm glad we're doing this.
Yeah.
We do have a 4th microphone, so there will be other people here, I'm sure.
Sounds good.
And I got some pretty cool stuff, I think, planned. I'm excited for football season next year. I got some stuff planned for that. So, yeah. All right. Well, that's episode 1. We'll see you guys and gals.
All right.